Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for races 15 and 16 in the ARC GT3 challenge. Once I can find the stream on my tablet, because it's been temperamental. So I know that it is working. And we have just begun qualifying for Zolder. And it is a stormy night here in Belgium. Rain is almost verging on torrential here. And so the drivers that got on the racetrack first are going to be at a major advantage, because they will be running on the driest the track is going to be all night, pretty much. And Tim Galvin returns to the grid, and he exits the racing surface. And may the track limit gods have mercy on him for that one, because he's going to need this lap. Even if it's not the greatest lap, he's going to need it while the track is still relatively dry. For the most part, this session's going to be basically over by the halfway mark, because after about 4 or 5 minutes, the track is going to be so drenched that there won't really be much of any sort of threshold to improve lap times anymore. That said, in the pre-qualifying session, we did see 2 drivers pull last-minute laps out of seemingly nowhere in the form of Joshua Bowditch and Jamie Wright to qualify. Jake Scarborough and the reserve for Carter Ritchie, Mo Alte, I think it's Alte, have missed the race. Discuss further details about the circuit itself at the end of this opening qualifying lap from the driver that was the fastest in said pre-qualifying session by quite a margin. Curious to see if we'll see that same minute 43 pace that they demonstrated in that session or not. It doesn't look like much rain from the broadcast, but believe me, it is torrential. It's a storm condition. Yeah, another 43.8, so I think Tim Galvin can be relatively comfortable with that alone. Never mind, Jan Torres 41.4, and makes me just sound like a fool, and these two are in the same car. Now these thoughts, 41.73. He claims to very much enjoy rain racing in this game, so I have some decently high expectations from him in this go. I believe his previous ARC win was in ARC's previous GT3 race that was wet. I can't remember what track that was, but it was a while ago. Logan Cool, the 44.6. Gabe Pizzolo, the 42.4. Let's see, what other things are there worth looking at? I don't think there's much. These are all the usual suspects that have been in every other race. I don't know why I thought there was anybody new. The 2 reserve drivers got knocked out, I believe. Actually, no, Jake Scarborough is full-time in that McLaren that he failed to qualify, and jury is out on whether or not it was him being impeded on his lap that is the reason he's missed this race. As we see a Ferrari spinning out across the track. AJ barely doesn't actually really avoid it, but he doesn't hit it too much either, so shouldn't affect him too much. I don't know what Ferrari that was. Well, it wasn't you, and that's not a Ferrari. Okay, it must have been Jamie Wright, because it's the only car that was in that area. Oh! Yeah, Jamie Wright has fast car sometimes, but it's not stable from what I saw in pre-qualifying. Speaking of not stable, this track's the way that this track is ticking right now is we'll ride along with Dylan Baum as he heads up to the start finish. Hopefully he'll actually proceed toward another lap, because I like to disclose how this track ticks when it's wet. I've run test laps myself to find that answer for the purpose of the broadcast. As DIVEBOMB runs a 40.2, what on earth? Is the track even wet for him? And so turn 1's about normal, but the braking point's a little earlier than usual. Turn 2, braking point's hard to figure out because there's no real obvious tell. Turn 3, just a sustained cornering. Turn 4, watch understeer with the wet track surface. You get matte gravel, it's all over. I believe this must be Jamie up ahead. And DIVEBOMB is being obstructed. Watch this chicane. Not only are people going to have some problems with the car compressing on the way in, but there's a pretty lethal puddle on the exit that'll only get worse as the race goes on. It didn't seem so bad there. I'm not exactly sure what Dylan's doing differently. That was a tongue twister. But he seems to have his car wired to just tackle this wet condition like no other. I don't know where he's just suddenly grasped this from, but I'd certainly love to know myself, that's for sure. For a friend. Who am I kidding? If I were this fast, I wouldn't be in the commentary booth right now. I may have 25 wins, but half of this field weren't even in the league when I got that 25th one. A 39 flat. Dylan, please. You're crippling everybody else's feelings. I don't know. I don't even know. 39 flat. Just watched a lap that I probably wouldn't be able to set if the track was dry. Setchel has apparently invalidated their lap about 5 times over, according to the game. Matthew Stotts has dethroned Gabe Cazola for P2. I'm not sure what has gone wrong with AJ Knickel, but he does not have the pace I anticipated him having. Now, there is a good example of that puddle. It doesn't seem to be as bad on the right side of the circuit, but on the left, which is where you wash out to because it's a right-hand corner, oh boy, you might as well be in a skating rink with a race car. And all of the weird things that would go on as a result of that. I believe this is an outlap for Knickel or something. I don't know, he's been at full tilt, so it's hard to really tell the difference. Knickel will creep up to the start-finish for his final attempt at qualifying here. He's got quite a gap to surmount if he's going to get anywhere near DIVEBOMB's 39.0. If anything, I would probably just set my sights on the 41s. Or, I guess, 40s, since, front row. Second through sixth are pretty close. 3/10 separate them. AJ Knickel's on the outside looking in with a 42.30. Oh, track limits. Very, very close with those. Attacks turn 4. Like, it just, called him a funny name or something. And the session timer has ticked down to 0. Oh, the hydroplaning is just so unbelievable. It's like you're driving through Lake Superior just there. Do people from Belgium even know what that is? I don't think so. Travis Van Oostendorp jumps up with a 40.9. Who else is on laps that might be closer? Oh, AJ is the closest to the start-finish, so we'll just keep the camera here. Connor Hannick is the car that I was hearing directly behind him. Waiting to see Jamie Wright pull another miracle lap out of nowhere at the last minute and, well, maybe at least be within 20 seconds of pole. I don't think we do the 107 rule, but if we did, I think Jamie Wright would be kicking himself. Knickel improves by nearly like 7/10, but it's not enough to get him up any higher on the starting grid. Such is just how close the drivers from 2nd to now 7th are. Connor Hannock comes across the line. He doesn't even improve. Joshua Bowditch is doing that. Good thing nobody else is on the straightaway. Luke Alwyn crosses, improves, not by enough to gain a position on the starting grid. And Jamie Wright, well, he starts 15th, I think I just saw. He jumped a singular vehicle. And so just like many races up to this point, this is, at least based on qualifying speed, this is Dylan Baum's race to lose. Starting on pole with a lap that was nearly 2 seconds faster than the car starting alongside him. It's also a very yellow top 5. Gabe Gazzola didn't get the memo, but everybody else, like yellow submarines with all the water on the track. It's very clear to see where the skill gap is. 1.2 seconds between 7th and 8th on the grid. My details back on the screen. So the grid rundown as we look at this 10-lap sprint. It's going to feel like 15 with this rain pouring down on the circuit. And the longer we sit here, I do believe puddles are forming too. So this is going to be an issue, I imagine. Dylan Baum with his fire starter of a lap starts on pole. Excuse the gas. Travis Van Oostendorp alongside him, followed by his teammate Matthew Stotts, starting 3rd. We have Gabe Gazzola, Tim Galvin, Jan Torres, AJ Knickel, Connor Hannock, Setchel in the Porsche. Joshua Bowditch rounds out the top 10. Fidel Fabian, Billy Targi, Logan Kuhl, Luke Allen, Jamie Wright, and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer starts last. I think he only got 1 lap in. And I believe it might have been in like the mid to late portion of the session, so that's probably part of his misery, at the very least. But we have seen some pretty decent starts from the Renault cars in this championship thus far. So I wonder if Dylan's lead into turn 1 will be properly contested. I'm actually going to put the camera on Matthew Stotts to get that answer. The sets of red lights turn green, and we are green from the Zolder sprint round, and as I expected, Van Oostendorp gets away well and is going to contest the Lamborghini, maybe into turn 1. Going to break a bit late, but everybody washes a bit wide. Nobody's ready for the understeer, even with the warm tires off the start. Nobody seemed quite prepared. We look down the midfield. You see Tim Galvin with a really mediocre start. Setchel with a huge start up to P6. Might be 7 as Hannock strikes back at the Porsche driver. A bit of a battle between the Brits there, and yeah, indeed, I believe caused by Dylan Baum missing an apex of 7. It is currently a Renault 1-2, as both Renaults have jumped the Huracan off the start. Let's see what those puddles are doing. I think everybody has had enough time to get acquainted with them. Never mind, Luke Allen is making another thumbnail image as he spins across the track and clobbers Fidel Fabian. Caught that right in 4K. And now Baum's lost another place, this time to Gabe Gazzola. reach the hairpin for the first time. It seems mostly laid back. AJ Kaneko also got collected in something along the way. I don't really see any other reason why he'd be that far back. Down there in P13. And we have a yellow flag for something. I was told we were going to be lenient on the cautions tonight, but it seems that may not matter. And due to the timing of the caution, we get to do an entire other lap before we can even go into the pit lane, because Van Oostendorp, the race leader, had already passed the entry before it was called, approximately 71 days late. And yet, 3 cars are pitting anyway. I guess you know which cars got damage. That was a quick pit stop for having damage, though, so I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I watched Fidel get his. I don't know what happened to Knickel. Something tells me there'll be something I'll see, an incident report later this evening, but for right now, unless I get confirmation in the Discord or in the comments section, I'm not going to know. So I've received 3 separate invitations to a league I have not raced in 2 years. They keep me on the list for the list for that, and I don't fully understand why. I mean, I guess you never know, but also, like, come on, this league had this race. This championship runs at this exact time every week, just about. So I don't particularly have any interest, or really have the time for that league, so they don't know that, sure, but I do. Anyway, rambling aside, because, you know, I'm just trying to keep myself entertained during what I expect to be the first of several of tonight's safety cars. And there's not much to talk about yet either, because I already saw one of the 2 crashes that accumulated to bring it out. And it's not like tire strategy is going to matter yet, because we can't do the mandatory tire change on this lap anyway. Although I do wonder, if every driver is audibly confirmed that nobody has to pit this lap, they might actually throw the green. I've seen this before. It seems unlikely that nobody else has to pit, but then those 3 cars did already. Does anybody pit? I'm on the wrong screen. It looks like everyone is staying in the line. Oh, we are throwing the green. Travis Van Oostendorp floors it, and we are away once more from Zolder. Where is my chase camera? A view from the midfield, courtesy of the 488 of Connor Hannock, as DIVEBOMB tags the back of Gabe Cazzola, and his car has given up on him. And I'm curious to see, that's obviously demoted him to P last, as he chases his tail, trying to get back on the racing surface. But single car incident's not really enough to bring out a safety car, as Galvin and Setchel get really pushy. Galvin snaps and loses several places. As I mentioned, don't touch that gravel if you know it's good for you, because there's not going to be any grip over there. There usually isn't on a good day. But with all the water on the track, forget about it. We're playing Mud Runner at that point. The Ferraris in particular, or at the very least the Ferraris that aren't Gabe Cazzola and Connor Hannock, really are... Oh, goodbye, Jan Torres. He manages to keep the car away from damage, but that just looked weird from the camera, or from the perspective I had of that. But yeah, those 2 The two red Ferrari, or Luke Allen and Jamie Wright, that puddle does not treat them well at all. It doesn't treat anybody well, but it certainly doesn't like them today. There's also a puddle on the inside of this chicane. However, you're going so slow when you reach it that it doesn't really have a chance to do anything like the puddle out of the first chicane will do. Yeah. This is a bad cough. AJ Knickel has gotten his way up to a very dysfunctional dogfight between Setchel and Cool, which has actually ended in a rather simplistic fashion, considering our conditions here. AJ Knickel will overtake the 78 car and be on his merry way as we see something going on up there. I don't know what. We see Joshua Bowditch is struggling to keep his vehicle on the tarmac. Oh! Setchel's grip has run out and he has clipped the quarter panel of Jan Torres, and Torres definitely loses there. Yeah, that's the puddle. It just grabs your car's metaphorical ankles and twists them, pretty much. And if anybody else happens to be nearby when the puddle just reaches out and grabs you, oh well. It's not Mother Nature's problem, it certainly isn't yours either, I guess. I mean, it is. It isn't. Because the more jaded folks will submit a penalty. Oh my word! AJ was not prepared for that breaking point and about clobbers the McLaren, does run him off the racetrack a bit. I won't say that's AJ's finest overtake, but he clearly doesn't have time to waste. Even if his only championship rival is running 14th position right now. He doesn't want to make win posts for anybody other than himself. And if he does have to, they'll be delayed by half a week. Oops, did I say that on the stream? Oopsie. As the two Renaults hydroplane their way into a 1-2 Matthew stops with expert traction. And he just caught Travis Van Oostendorp lacking right there. And we have a lead change between the two Conga Line cars. Pizzola was making ground up on them as well, but then I think he also sunk his tires into a puddle just there. And he lost time. Travis doesn't really get a whole lot closer on the braking. How about on exit as Matthew Stotts? There's a little bit of adventuring over there. Indeed, Van Oostendorp has a run. The two Renaults are going to contest this into the final chicane. Who can brake later? They brake at the exact same time, so it's inconclusive, but Stotts has the inside and will be victorious. For now. Gabe Cazola has arrived. He's here to take full advantage of the battle of the Conga Line cars and see if he can't try and make a clean sweep, but he doesn't have a chance to here. The two Brits, I think, just switched places once again. Jurgensmeyer pits. I also just realized I talked about a mandatory pit stop under the safety car. That is completely nonsense because this is the sprint round, which doesn't have a mandatory pit stop. Wrecker, how long have we been doing this for? 7 years, almost. And I forgot how pit stops work. Oh, a bit of a bump draft. If you're not going to go, I'll force you to. As Suchel was catching up to Logan Cool, but has lost some time on the exit of that chicane. I did see there's somebody going in and out of the stream rapidly. I don't know what's going on down there. Torres is catching Luke Allen. These two are both catching Joshua Bowditch, who's basically in a fight for survival. And Logan is trying to get in his little head. It's working. I don't really know what happened there. I think Bowditch may have found a puddle, and now he's off to find Atlantis or something. I don't. He just took like the Super Mario like green pipe into the underworld area. Pew pew pew. Like what? That looked so weird. Matthew Stotts extends his lead ever so slightly, and the top three are pretty evenly spread out. Billy Targi is slowly gaining on them, little by little. Somebody who drove the Acura for a long time, it's got pretty good exit traction, which is of noticeable benefit when the track is drenched as it is. That is an interesting racing line, Gabe, I will not lie. Did he just go in the grass to minimize the wheel spin? Is there really more grip out there? Or is that just an illusion? As Logan Cool team orders for Dylan Baum, I do believe. And Dylan's next challenge is Suchel's Porsche. Oh, wow. The Porsche meanders through the second chicane section. And Dylan's gonna make light work of this on corner exit. Maybe not. Suchel is making him use all of the racetrack there is, but Dylan is not clear as Suchel with a huge crossover maneuver, but I think the Huracan will eventually come out on top, but it's probably harder than anybody expected it to be. The Porsche doesn't attempt return, but Dylan Baum loses control in the chicane and loses the position, so now he's going to have to do that all over again. AJ Knickel has caught Billy Targi, which only speaks to me that if he's that much faster and Billy was catching the lead three, AJ's probably the fastest car on the track right now. Well, they may be unbiased, or maybe biased not to the commentators' delight, although at least there'll be a fight for it this time, so that will be to the commentators' delight. Anything's better than Algarve, that's for sure. As Gabe Kozilla finally sees an opportunity to try and make a pass, but it just doesn't advance. Now something happened to AJ Knickel, so apparently what I was just saying is cursed him, and he now finds himself well out of range of the podium. If he's lucky, he'll get back to the NSX driver, but he's not getting to the top three after whatever just went wrong for him there. Oh, Dylan Baum is around in the second chicane. His own teammate has to take evasive actions. That was loud. What was that? Oh, Jan Torres spins at about 30 miles an hour. That looked like force. That looked like you just drove onto a turntable. If I continue to cough profusely, I will have to probably attempt to blow my nose in between the sprint and the feature, finale, whatever word, Riker, just pick one and go with it. Now it is... Never mind. It would have been Logan Cool's turn to try and overtake the Porsche, but then he just didn't make turn 2 at all. So now there's no overtake to be had. As Van Oostenburg continues to use abnormal racing lines to the chicanes. And he's caught his teammate again, though. This final lap is going to be interesting. We got 3 cars with a good chance at taking this victory. Although Stotts obviously has track position. Cazolla's in the catbird seat. He's in the best seat in the house if anything goes wrong between teammates. Which, I don't want to say will happen, but with these conditions, anything is possible. Oh, Gabe sent into a lane that was closing. Meanwhile, Stotts went wide at the corner, so we're going to be hotly contested heading into turn 1. Stotts is sporadically changing lanes. Gabe has to back out, or he's just going to knock Van Oostenburg's bumper off. Speaking of knocking bumpers off, personal space, Travis. That's an interesting place to try and ascend. Ascend? Try ascend. It's a place to go up, yeah. Go to heaven. Are you prepared to meet Jesus? Oh my, we about did. I think Stotts got a bit loose there. What does Cazolla see? What's Gabe thinking about? Probably thinking that he's about to take avoiding action as we cross these puddles for the final time. That's what I'm thinking, at least. Oh no, it's actually Gabe that has the most problem with the puddles. Travis arrives at the inside of Stotts' car. They're going to be too wide in the second of chicanes. And Stotts can't turn, so Travis can't turn either. Gabe is about to squeeze through unwanted conga line contact. And Stotts has been absolutely robbed through that chicane. What does the Renault do? Does he do anything? Gabe down the inside of the final hairpin, who has the better exit traction to the dead heat. There's a lap car there, that is Jurgensmeyer, and he does about get out of the way as this is the run to the finish line. And Matthew Stotts gives Gabe the punt of a lifetime, and he rejoins. Interestingly, what is going on there? Travis Van Oostenburg is going to take the victory in this absolute pandemonium of a final lap. Interesting actions for Stotts and Cazolla at the final corners. I don't really know what was going on there. Somebody got desperate. Obviously, that somebody was Gabe Cazolla. No, that somebody was Stotts. It was everybody. Who am I kidding? Oh, boy. Yeah, this is already better than Algarve, and we aren't even in the feature race yet. Then again, the feature in Algarve, or the sprint in Algarve, wasn't too bad. It was the feature that everybody looking like clowns. Oh, Sexual has found some grass. Logan Cool is stopping. Oh, he's trying to take the... Are we going to allow that? Is that like manipulating the race? He's been destroyed. That just... Porsche jump scare. Oh my word. Look, Alan just protests something at the start-finish line. And here comes Fidel Fabian to complete the feature. And then, as you just see through the garage door, he just absolutely clocks Luke Allen. Alright, the top three cars within 6/10 of each other, and the race came down to the final corner. The feature race is going to have something to live up to from that one. Travis wins over Matthew Stotts and Gabe Cazolla. Billy Targi with a pretty quiet P4. AJ Knickel with a salvage act of P5. Probably could have been more, but he had a mistake with a handful to go. A distant P6 for Jan Torres. Connor Hannick P7. Logan Cool, through his pro gamer move strategies, will take the final point. And he takes the pole for the feature race. I don't know how much he likes that feature pole, but I don't really know where that's going to get you. Not here. Oh boy. I shall take this intermission as we get into the lobby for the feature to stop sniffling, most importantly. Alright, now that I've stopped sniffling, maybe, I'm gonna have a 19 lap feature here from Zolder. I'm apparently wrong. I'm still, nose is still stuffy. Hang on, we got time. Okay, now I have to be done snizzling. There's no way that I haven't just caused extinction. I'll probably be sniffling again in 2 laps to watch. Or clearing my throat. Basically the same thing. It's a loud noise that disrupts my ability to commentate. The drivers are finalizing their strategies before we go into this. Probably more pandemonium. What? Pandemonic is the word I was looking for there. This is a fake race start. Do not be fooled. We are setting the grid. Why do I feel a little obligated to mention that every week? I don't know. And this very long formation lap has one obvious downside, and that is definitely going to be the track water is going to only get worse. apparently we are allowing Logan to, or I guess I should say we're not counting that as race manipulation, I guess, because it was Logan's choice to decide to not score 3 points from this sprint race, in lieu of creating absolute chaos on the first actual racing lap here, as if there wasn't already enough of that to go around. The second we reach the exit of the first chicane, and we have cars skating around like it's a hockey rink. Everyone's desperately trying to get any sort of heat in those tires so that they can materialize. I don't really think that's going to be quite limited, I'd have to imagine. It's not going to be long now, as my throat continues to be congested. You have to keep clearing it over and over again. It's not any more annoying for me than it is for you, believe me. As per usual, Logan is in control anywhere between the last turn and the start line. And I expect Logan to hold things off for as long as physically possible, just to create additional madness. I am wrong, he is flooring it right out of the corner. We are green from the Zolder feature. Hannick was not fooled, but everybody else was. And we go into turn 1, and Hannick attempts to take the lead away, but he is forced off. Or that, or he just spun. I couldn't tell from the trackside camera. He has been definitely cut off by the Renault there. I think that has to be Matthew Stotts. This car got really not obedient under brakes. And up. Hannick with some late braking has yeeted Travis Van Dusendorp into turn 4. And then now we head once again into the puddle, which actually isn't there right now, interestingly enough. And Jen Torres just really got swung wide there going through the chicane, and AJ Knickel is there to take advantage of that. AMG will only have one more pass to make, but it's not going to be an easy one to make, chances are. Passing Logan is never easy. Especially not when AJ has forgotten his braking limits and rejoins the track in the lead. AO. Eventually Logan will get alongside, barely. I mean, by definition, I guess he's giving the place back for like all 3 seconds. But Logan actually gets a good turn 1 and takes the fight right back to AJ, who's boxed out between many cars. Yeah, definitely corralling them right now is Logan Cool. And this is a caution for not sure what. Based on the fact that Luke Allen's missing a taillight. And Fidel's car looks like it just went through a can crusher. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's these two. Again. Do you need to file a restraining order for you two bozos? Despite that fancy number 3 up there, we will not be able to do mandatories on this lap, because we've only completed 2. The first lap was just information. So, it's at the end of lap 4 when we can, drivers can start taking mandatory stops. Based on the way that my tires were dying off during my sort of pre-race time waster test session test. The English, Riker, do you speak it? Pre-race time waster test session. Tires are not long for the world here at this track. At least not the way I was driving. But the way I was driving was probably wrong. So who's to say? Even still, we can't go green this lap either, because we do obviously have at least 2 cars that will have to pit. Luke and Fidel. As 4 cars had to pit there, all for damage, presumably. I wasn't aware that Josh and Dylan had damage, but I guess so. Norbert just like, ooh, what's this in the grass? I'm trying to encounter a Pokemon or something. It seems that the rain is not pouring down as heavily as it was in the sprint, because there's still no puddle on the exit of that chicane when there was a puddle there at the end of lap 1 in the sprint, much less lap 4. I'm waiting for AJ to spin himself as he tries to heat his rear tires there. And we should be a mere few seconds away from reaching the green flag here. I believe that car in last. Oh. Okay, Gabe. I think Fidel's gonna barely get here in time, so we will be able to go green. Yep, he has arrived, and we're up to 60. Does Logan floor it instantly? No, he's holding this one. Now we're green, and AJ does not go, but he's not going to lose much because Stotts went into him. Very disjointed race restart there. Logan is sliding around there as he's trying to, I think, push his car probably to its limit, or maybe even past, just to try and cue them up for Dylan to overtake, but that's only making things worse, I have a feeling, and there that goes. 2 places in 1 straightaway, and yeah, Matthew Stotts and AJ get through. Gabe Gazzola also sneaks by, and there's still no puddle to speak of there, so... Dylan Baum is in last. Obviously having more misery on the restart. Clearly I spoke something into existence during qualifying when I said it's Dylan's race to lose based on that qualifying time, and oh boy, has he ever lost it. He's been lost it since about turn 3. Just a miserable state of affairs. That's not quite the breaking point there, Stotts. Gabe Gazzola can't make you pay for it just quite. Just quite? What? English again? Yeah, and cars are making their mandatories now. Not surprisingly, Logan Cool among the first, alongside Jan Torres and Luke Allen. I did not know there was this weird chicane on the pit road. And then on the back 3 cars, which may very well just be pitting for damage, based on the way that the back of this field has been trending thus far. Now that AJ has obtained the premium resource that is clean air, he has begun to make a statement as he pulls away. The audio mixing is a bit weird. Stotts' car is louder than Gabe's, even when I'm spectating Gabe's car. Explain that to me. You can't. Top 10 questions science still can't answer. Bowditch and Setchel very close quarters there out of the second chicane. Josh gives the slightest love tap to the Porsche. Tries to use the fenders a tiny bit on the exit. Setchel all of a sudden decides now it's time to pit in. Matthew Stotts and Van Oostendorp both do as well. Setchel with a bit of fog of war, not able to tell which one is their pit box. Stotts is on his way out. Somebody else is also peeling off. It is his teammate. They're going to be too wide as they head out of the pits. Actually, they're going to be not even too wide. They're just going to be a singular Renault entity. What the Heat 5 is going on? Eventually, Travis realizes he's going to have to stop and let one car go by. Stotts' efforts to defy or to deny the pit exit line, I've only saw him just slowly understeer off of the circuit entirely. It's quite an embarrassing look. Oh, I was like totally lost on where we were on the track there. My brain, for whatever reason, just thought we were at the first chicane on the racetrack, and I was like, where's AJ going? Oh, he's in the pits. Wait, how'd we get to the pits? Well, gee, I don't know, right? Have you looked at a map before? Ain't that hard to figure out. I think in the distance, yeah, we just saw DIVEBOMB lose it again over a puddle that's not even there this time. And DIVEBOMB has had enough. Either that or his car's had enough after whiplash like that. Probably got to take the Huracan out of the race, and if it doesn't, it's certainly taken Dylan's motivation out of the race. Is it me, or is it just straight up not raining? Okay, never mind, the rain's back. I was like, is it just not raining? I thought it was set to rain conditions. What went wrong there? No, it just spectator desync, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I'm just sitting here spectating Gabe Gazzola run on his own when I could be watching cars that are battling for positions. Bit of a NASCAR and NBC moment for me there. The two Renaults continue to be inseparable here in this race. Stop, so this is not the racetrack. Not. And Jimmy and Luke getting a bit physical there as finally Gabe Gazzola decides now is the time to pit. The only driver that's elected to split it halfway. There's a three-car war here going on between two Ferraris and Billy Targi in the Acura. Jurgensmeyer isn't super far away, but he's not in the battle yet either, per se. And Luke Allen is off doing some exploring as he's missed the braking zone, and he will lose those 2 places to both Targi and Wright. Bowditch is finally on his way out of the pits. Gabe rejoins P2, but 5 seconds removed from the race leader, so AJ's turning this into yet another snooze inducer. Another melatonin matchup, if you will. Jamming a 2 oversteer. Billy excellently takes advantage of that. A huge exit from turn 4. Barely gets it stopped in time for the chicane, but puts the Acura in P6 overall. I was about to say net P6, but that is just untrue because everybody's pit already. And yeah, even Gabe himself didn't split it halfway. He pitted at 8 of 19, technically speaking. So, we don't do that here. Oh, if you love that, Dylan, you should try playing NASCAR Heat 5. That's a sentence I can't believe I just said out loud. Gabe Gazola's being a bit lacking in the cornering department, and the 2 Renaults can smell the blood in the water. All of it. All of the water. But first order of business, they have to stay on track first. Travis defends from his own teammate. So Logan Cool's great master plan didn't do him any favors. And there was no caution like just about everybody probably expected there to be. So Luke Allen has been overtaken by Jurgensmeyer, who's finally starting to show a bit of ferocity here in this one. It's taken him many laps. But suddenly Jurgensmeyer has remembered that we are in fact taking part in a motor race. Four cars basically under a blanket, just over midway through the feature round. The battle for second is about to explode, just about. Cazola defends from Van Oostendorp through turn 4. Compromised exit. Can Van Oostendorp capitalize? He abruptly changes lanes to cross the 488 up. But neither one really makes that chicane at all. Luckily, the track limit gods don't really care about the chicanes in the slightest, so Van Oostendorp hasn't really been penalized for that. Not like he would be, not in the way that he'd be at any other track, that's for sure, where he'd be getting a big old L from the stewards from that one. Even if it wasn't his fault, that's just how racing games tend to be sometimes. Fabian had a mishap, which has put Logan Cool in the top 10. Somebody's just retired from the race in the background. Oh, it's Bowditch. It literally says in the race feed me. The game is giving you information. Read it. Cazolla's grip on P2 is really loose. I think it's just a matter of chipping away at his defenses, and I think Van Oostendorp has done just that. Cazolla's trying to muscle his way into a lane that's not open. Van Oostendorp with huge defense puts Cazolla in the grass now to keep P2. I don't really know if that one's in the sporting regulations per se, but... Oh boy, and that's, I don't really know if Gabe Cazolla was there. He kinda was at the apex though, so I think Travis had to give way for that. And also that's almost just karma in a way for what Travis did to block him on the way out of the previous turn. Not saying that that's what he should be doing that on purpose, but I'm just saying, you know, you get what you deserve. I don't think Gabe did that on purpose either. I'm not saying that either one did anything on purpose, but karma has had enough of Van Oostendorp, clearly, or something or other. Some otherworldly force has decided, you know what, I like that car better backwards. Stotts is making enemy out of that outside curb. As what was once a 4-car battle has turned into a 2-car battle, and calling this a battle might even be a stretch in itself. The other Renault is not out of the picture, but he's not in it yet either. Apparently in the recent history, Hannick got ahead of Logan Cool to take P10, which I was about to say that's the final points position. No, it is not. It's top 15 here in GT3. Tim Galvin has definitely had an off race this week as well. I know he said his Bentley isn't comfortable in rain conditions, but that implies that anybody is. I don't really feel like that's necessarily the end-all be-all, but then again, I also haven't seen he's probably been in a crash or had some mistakes. I've been not really looking at him in this race. It's like he just hasn't been the all-conquering demon that he was in the prototype challenge, that's for sure. Such as getting the elbows out to try and keep him at bay. Succeeding for the time being. Allen trying to keep Logan Cool at bay and about succeeding. more or less. Hennick with an ambitious move at the second chicane, basically parking it up there, heading through there. And 2 separate crossovers later, Jerkensmeyer still hangs on to that spot. Gabe Kozola's dynasty is collapsing here. Van Oostendorp has caught back up to him. And I can't imagine they'll be racing too friendly now after the way that Gabe took this position from him to begin with. Yeah, he's giving Gabe a bit of the bumper when he could have pulled right and probably overtaken him. Instead, he gives him a push. And Karma says he should have just passed because Van Oostendorp just got rocked by that inside curb, and he's back to square one. Hennick versus Jergensmeyer again. Inside lane with the advantage as ever at most tracks. And it didn't seem to hurt Hennick's exit too much, so I don't think Jergensmeyer will have the best opportunity here. He will have an opportunity, but this isn't really the corner you want to do that in. Oh, well, Hennick will just overtake himself. Or I should say, his rear end will overtake his front end. And that will put Jergensmeyer into 8th. And knock Hennick way out of the top 10 for good measure as he finally rejoins the track. Behind this battle for P9 as Logan Cool does Logan Cool things. Hennick spins again. Luke Allen spins again. Not a good day to be a Ferrari right now. That's 2 separate... There are 2 spins at the same time. I wonder if that's going to be a yellow flag. Logan misses the hairpin. Setchel just inserts that Porsche right where it has to go. You know, AJ is not so down, so that is not a yellow flag for that incident. What the heck? Logan Cool has missed the braking zone by about a mile. Starts with some uncontested racetrack. He's starting to bite into that lead of AJ's. I don't know if it's going to be enough or it's going to be, you know, a day late and a dollar short. But he's certainly the faster car right now. I don't know if maybe AJ could also be just driving conservatively based on the way he just shifted there. There's always something else in play when it comes to this. That's just how racing is. Don't know what the other car is doing, unless you ask. Stotts probably may very well have done. If the AJ is a 42 flat, it was a 41.3 for Stotts. No doubt at all, that's the fastest car in this track right now. And Van Oostendorp ain't much slower. 42.6 for him in his quest to take the podium spot away from Cazzola. As we now hit 3 laps to go. That is a really ambitious move from Van Oostendorp, and I'm not so sure about that one. I know there's been some messy drama over there on that end of the community, the CLE and T1A types. As I think Gabe may have just claimed suspension damage from that smack, or not. No, AJ made a mistake. There's a battle for the lead going on. I've been slightly surprised by this result. AJ's car not liking the conditions anymore, but Matthew Stotts, perfectly fine. That's not racing. Yeah, racing. we have witnessed the Burnout 3. Now we are witnessing actual racing, as Stotts has, I think possibly by some mistake from the leader, made his way up to AJ Knickel's rear bumper. And as we hit 2 laps to go in the feature race, still everything to play for. You know, in wet conditions, the push and pull of individual corners is greatly exacerbated. So, you know, as with any motor race, make each turn count, but especially now. As you have to take unorthodox passing zones in these conditions at this track, where the chicanes don't always work too well. You've got the final hairpin, you got the final chicane, which is wide enough for a pass, but like this corner here, not a good idea. Which is just simply not it. In the background, Tim Galvin is catching up to Jonathan Juergens. Actually, Juergensmeyer is backing 2 cars up as the battle for 8th goes on in the background. Quick glimpse at that. More crossover shenanigans take place in the second chicane, just as they did on the last lap. Stotts has a mighty run here. If he can take it up to the hairpin, but I don't think he's going to have a shot here. Almost tries the touring car move, but just couldn't pull the trigger, and even if he did, it wouldn't have helped. Cazzola has fallen behind, or no, he's caught up back to Jan Torres. I think he was overtaken by Torres after the not racing incident. Battle for 8th continues. Juergensmeyer is unsettled, but Hanick's not amazing either. All 3 cars just unsteady over that crest, too, for some good measure. Hanick with an ambitious move once more. Meanwhile, looking back at the race for the lead, it's not super close right now. These two clearly have very different methods of attacking turn 2, that's for sure. Stotts seems to have worked better here. Got a good exit from turn 4, and you don't even have to worry about passing into the chicane, because you can be clear going in, but AJ has decided he is going to initial D his way through there and make that a null and void point. Sechel's caught the battle for 8th too, as Juergensmeyer's car is clearly not at maximum capacity right now. Stotts is basically able to spit on AJ's taillights right now if he wanted to. I don't know why he'd want to, but he could. An attempt at the outside, that's not going to do much. You're better off saving momentum for the final hairpin, because that's your best opportunity to pass at this circuit, especially with the water on the track. Things have moved down at 8th. Stotts is just not close enough for that, despite the fact that he tries to make a lane out of nothing. And he got a terrible exit, so I think AJ is going to have that. AJ Knickel will grab the important round, the feature race. Uh-oh, he's got a bad exit there, but Matthew Stotts didn't have an amazing one either, so AJ will win the feature here from Zolder, but he fell apart at the tail end a little bit. Connor Hanick has since managed to claim P8 from Juergensmeyer. Can he at least stay in the top 10? It seems like you will. It's a double podium for Conga Line, by the way. Provisionally, I don't know. The stewards will definitely be looking at whatever the not racing thing was between himself and Cazzola later. But for now, Travis is 3rd. And everyone's pretty spread out, so it looks like it'll be Tim Galvin rounds out the top 10. He's got a good exit here, but it wasn't good enough to take that spot away. And Jurgensmeyer has missed. And this has absolutely been a week to forget for Fidel Fabian. There's just no redeeming qualities of this weekend for him. And Matthew Stotts has died. Jamie has such a pin for the 3 count, and that will do it. For the Zolder round, we are running down the list of races in this schedule. I believe that was week 8 of 12 here in the GT3 Challenge, so we've passed the 2/3 mark. And after a week like that, I'm pretty sure AJ is probably on the fast track to clinching this championship early. Doing another week like that one, I have no doubt. Stotts and Van Oostendorp make it a Congo line 2-3. Jed Torres with a quiet 4th. And yeah, that is it. Tim Galvin rounds of the top 10. Every driver that's finished scores points. It's top 15. But that is going to do it for this broadcast. I'm just going to back out here. The next race would typically be AF1, but I will be out of town for most of this week and next, so I might be back for the next week of GT3 action, but I will absolutely not be home to bring you the AF1 season opener. I feel like I've been here before, but yeah, no, I will be out of town come Friday, so there may not be a stream for the season opener for the Equal Cars Championship, but maybe AJ can find somebody, I don't know. But whatever the case, Mike Rummel at least is signing off.